So I'm just going to give you a quick background on how this all came about. You know, Judge Bull once told me, I really feel, Juan, that good people don't always meet by mistake. You know, and I think that's correct. I came into the court system back then, and the first time I was arrested for my DWI, I always had one foot in and one foot out. And some of y'all probably understand that better than others. And I really sat there and thought, man, I've learned my lesson. You know, my job is at stake. I'm going to make sure that I do everything I'm supposed to do to not do this again. But I also had my fingers crossed. And obviously that didn't work out very well for me. I'd only been married 3 months at that time when the second DWI came about. And most of you who have been in that situation, even though I'm through probation, you know, we know how to work the system. You know, we do. And I was an expert at it. I knew when I could do things, and I knew when I couldn't do things. I knew when I could go out, and I knew when I had to stay home. And so I was lying to myself, and more importantly, I was lying to the people that loved me and cared for me, and including this court system. So on June the 3rd, I'm about to get done with school. I finished a very hectic day, and of course, we always pat ourselves in the back, you know, because we need to, and we deserve a drink. So I said, you know, why not? You know, so I went out that afternoon to a bar, and I promised myself, you know, Juan, you're on probation. Make sure that you understand it's only one drink. Una cervecita nomás con limón, ¿verdad? And before I know it, I'm sitting there in Harris County at 2:30 in the morning for my second DWI arrest. And I knew that was it. I knew I was done. And somewhere between that time, sitting next to the beautiful Harris County urinals, I got on my hands and knees and I proclaimed, and I really did this. This is a true story. I wish they had it on film. I got on my hands and knees and I said, God, don't get me out of this. Get me through this. I need your help. The very next day, I just talked to my lawyer, who I hadn't seen since then. I called him. I said, buddy, he goes, why not, coach? Wait, relax. Don't do any of that. I want you to find out how I can get help through others. At that afternoon, I called my boss, who now is in charge of the second biggest district in the state of Texas at Cypress Fairbanks. He is the athletic director there. He says, Coach, I need you to come in, even though we've been best friends and buddies for over 20 years at that time. He says, I need you to resign. I said, Ray, what am I going to do without a job, bro? I said, if I don't have you resign, Coach, they're going to ask you, they're going to fire you. And that's going to be worse on your record. I said, so what do? I said, I've already written your letter, buddy. Come in and sign it. So we sat there together, emotionally crying about what was going to happen next. I get in the vehicle with my wife with all my coaching things, my head between my legs, beaten, disgusted with myself, and I went home, back to Corpus Christi. And you talk about having to fill this program. I hated making that phone call to see if I was going to have to come, you know, do a urine test, knowing that I had to drive 200 and something miles to, please don't let it be me. Please don't let it be me. And luckily for me, I never got the chance to come up here. Somehow that worked out in my favor, and I think that was God's doing. But I came into this program, sobriety court, and I bid in. I put my both feet in it, and I decided to say, this is what I need. And I learned a very unique word through all this. Some of you guys that are Hispanic, Mexicano, I'm from Piedras Negras, Coahuila, by the way, Mexico. Okay. I've lost a little bit of my Spanish because I obviously have been growing in this side. But I learned the word ya. That's it. Ya. Bring it on. And I was very fortunate. I got started with the program, and somebody very early in the program comes up to me and says, you know, Rodriguez, and of course it's my sponsor, those of you who have gone through AA. My sponsor has been my sponsor since the day I met him. And it's how we met. And he's like 6'5", older gentleman, you know, so he's like my dad. He says, you know what your problem is, brother? And I said, no. But you tell me what my problem is. Because your problem is you want to be God. Your problem is you want to be Christ. And I don't remember your first name being Jesus. So you want to put everything into your spot. And when you don't, it drives you nuts. Because you want to be the director of all this. I said, so what are you saying, sir? He said, why don't you just become the producer of it all and let him direct your thoughts? And that hit home. That was it. I said, so you wait a minute. If I let go, I'm going to be okay. Yeah. I don't have a job, buddy. I said, I understand. I got my wife at that time to feed. Luckily for me, she makes more money than me, so I'm okay. Thank you. I was smart on that aspect, right? But thank God she definitely had us held, and we had a house, and we had everything, right? So I become a alarm salesman. Guess how many alarms I sold? 0. I was horrible at it. But I was able to get a little bit of money of that. And then my uncle says, you know, mijo, yes, sir. I have a job for you if you want it. I said, I'll do anything, brother. I got to support my wife. I said, it's okay. So I'm going to let you understand humility. I said, okay. And, you know, my cousin, te la van a estirar bien grandote, cabrón. Ahora sí. Ahora sí vas a saber que es trabajo. So I became a painter. Mind you, I've got 2 master's degrees in education. And the guy that was bossing me around only had a high school diploma. And I was humbled. Humbled. And I prayed every day, and I said, God, please, this is not my calling. That first September of that year, I get called by a guy named Juan Rodriguez, no relation, says, Coach, somehow they were able to get you into the system. I said, brother, I have 2 DWIs, man. I'm fighting my second one, and I'm about to be on probation for 2 years. How is that going to be possible? Yes, but when you applied the first time, because I was up for my first head football job in Ray High School in Corpus Christi, your application stayed on file, and they hadn't adopted the new rules. I said, so what does this mean? He goes, you can get hired, dude. Boom, I'm in. Let's fast forward now. Okay, that was 8 years ago. All right, 8 years ago. And from that point on, my life has just been a blessing, a blessing. This is my 4th time coming up here and speaking to you all and to letting you guys know that there's the one thing that my wife asked me to do. Make sure, Juan, because she runs the house. Make sure, yes, baby, you talk about hope. And you let those people know that there's hope out there. And I know how you're going to say it. What do I say? Tienes que tener ganas, bro. Bottom line. You got to let go of the past and you got to start the future. I've lost a lot of friends along the way. I ain't going to lie to you. I wish I could tell you I've kept them all. But I haven't. But I've made twice many more. And to me, if you want to be in that part of my old life, I don't talk to you. And that includes family too. My poorest parents, those of us who are still having our parents, my dad is 76 years old and he doesn't speak very good English. So he calls me on the way up here, hey, mijo, ¿dónde vas? Papá, voy para Houston. ¿Para qué? Dad, I told you 2 weeks ago I was going to go speak in Houston. ¿Para qué? ¿Dónde estás con ese programa? Ya lo acabé, papá. But I'm asked to come back and speak. 15 minutes ago, I was telling Judge Bull, my dad still doesn't understand what I've been through. Mijo, mande pa. Are you sure you're not in trouble again? I said, no, Dad. I swear, Pops, I really am going to be speaking on behalf of this court. So I want you guys to understand that this is always an honor and a pleasure because when I say I come home and I went home, I come home now. And I'm excited to come see the judges and I'm excited to see where this program is going because I'm letting you know, if you worked it and if you truly believe in what it did for you, then you're going to change. And it's okay to be different. I am not going to sit here and tell you that it was been easy those last 8 years. I'm not going to tell you that alcohol didn't come knocking on my door and saying, otra vez. And I was a Dos Equis drinker because I was the most interesting man I knew. And so, you know, and it never stopped. But I put some science into it, okay? So I want you to, I had to work the program as I'm getting all these tools that you've gotten. And guys, I'm telling you right now, y'all are lucky. Sanctions back in the day, you used to have to sit in the corner with books and Judge Bull would say, be back later. I'm just kidding. Don't worry about that. But they have changed, and I think they've gotten better. Technology has taken us that way, and I think that's so important for our kids and for the people that we're servicing today. And I say we because I'll always be a part of you. I'll always be a graduate from here. The thing that I've convinced myself, and I say this with all due respect, if you understand what I'm saying, I've never graduated. I've never graduated sobriety court. And I pray that I never will. And what that basically means is that I don't want to ever get done with this program. Because I would be lying to you at 6 foot, 245 pounds, ex-middle linebacker in college. Believe it or not, I never shared this with a judge. I ran a resocialization program for adjudicated gang members from East LA in Cook County, Illinois, when I started my career at a behavioral hospital. Alcohol brings me to my knees. I'm that afraid of it. I have a lot of respect for alcohol. And I've done some things to help you out. The first song that I ever listened to was Eric Clapton, Running on Faith. I listened to that song all the time when I first got sober. The second one was Brooks and Dunn's Believe. You got to believe in something. And the third thing I did, believe it or not, is I didn't know I was in a domestic, violent relationship with alcohol. I was in a domestic, violent relationship, and alcohol was winning. And I compared the symptoms. Wait a minute, it beats me up, but I go back. It says things that are not true, but I go back. It says things like, you're going to be okay, Juanito, come back. And I would. So I sat down, I researched, I found Rascal Flatts, I'm moving on. And I wrote a letter to alcohol. And I said, Ten, estás, ya acabé contigo. And I let that song play, and I said, I've moved on, man. You can come if you want to, but I'm done with you. And that was 8 years ago. And that was part of my process. It's learning how to deal with life on life's terms. Who would have known that this guy right here that sat there, was in that hallway, was in Harris County a few years back, got the chance to coach. Okay, got the chance to coach because of God's will in the 4th round of the playoffs at the Alamo Dome in front of about 14,000 people. And if he would have told me that, I would have said, no way, man, my career's done. Excuse my language, ya la cagué, vato. Don't understand that. I can see it in your eyes. Don't let the non-tattoos and the tie and the stuff fool you. I understand. That pride, man. Chica no te deja. It doesn't let convince yourself. It doesn't let you convince that you are who you are. So I have. I can't say enough about this program, and I'll never be able to. I can't tell you that things are going to be greater once you graduate. That's for you to decide. You've got to make the decision that this is where I'm going to be, this is where I'm going to become. The one thing I can honestly tell you is that this whole program was never a probation for me. Jennifer Kretsch, my probation officer, was never a probation officer for me. My judge was never a judge. Rachel, pobrecita, I would blow up her phone. Rachel, help me out. What about do this? What about do that? Jennifer Havey, Ms. Havey, was also part of my recovery. Ms. Palmer, I see you there, was part of my recovery. I've never forgotten. And I know the judge a few years back gave me like a little ornament, a picture of y'all for Christmas. It still hangs on my Christmas tree. It's never going to end. Don't go back out there thinking, I've got this. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, you don't. Stay close to the people that have helped you this last couple of years. Stay close to the program. You don't have to come back and visit like I do. You don't have to do all that. But know where you came from. I came from sobriety court. Everything that I am today is because of the people that have helped me in this program, because of Judge Bull. Everything I've become is because people believed in me. I'll finish with this, because I'm going to go off again, and I can already tell my tangent. I've also given up Diet Cokes, which has been harder than damn alcohol, believe it or not. So if I'm edgy, it's because I haven't had one in 51 damn days. But I coach like I teach, and I teach like I coach. And I work with at-risk kids. I'm 47 years old. I've lost most hair than anybody. I'm still trying to lose the weight that I told the judge back then. I probably need to get on my diet. I have an addiction to chocolate because I'm a chocoholic. I'm not going to lie. I will sneak out in the middle of the night, go to Dairy Queen and get a Blizzard because that's how I roll. My wife knows that too. And she jokes around now. That better not be Blizzard. I smell on your breath. No, babe, nah. It's water. It's water. Chocolate all over the place. I love you guys, man. I love this court. I love what this system is. And you guys here that are a part of it, there's going to come a time, because we're all human. There's going to be somebody that lets you down in the program. There's going to be somebody you go, cabrón, vato, ya. Don't you get it? In the back of your mind as a judge or someone that works, you're going to say to yourself, and when is this guy going to learn? Simple. I've learned this phrase now, is that what we do in this life is going to echo in eternity. And nobody, none of us, are ever lost as long as one of y'all believes in us. The day you all say, I don't believe in you anymore, it's a scary thought for myself and an alcoholic like myself. But that's not going to happen, I hope. That's why I keep coming back.